What's going on, guys? It's Charr here, back with another episode of Charred Takes. Now, as always, we're going to get into the background for today's topic and a couple of disclaimers before the topic proper. Feel free to use the chapters below to skip to the actual discussion. All right, so this was sort of spawned by a video that my good friend Daring Line uploaded. It was by the name of something like I want to play heroes, not decks, but it was kind of like a discussion series of his own where he kind of discussed multiple topics in that video, but I specifically keyed in onto this point, and I really wanted to dive deep into it and go into depth. So thanks for that idea, Lime. Now, as always, a couple of disclaimers. The opinions in this video are completely my own, but I really do encourage a lot of discussion and comments in the comment section down below, because I want to hear what you guys think on this. Let me know if my take was cooking or if it was charred, it was in the oven too long, a hot take. I don't hit hits on every single take I have, and I don't miss on every single take. I'd like to think it's somewhere in the middle. But let's go ahead and get into the reasoning here. So I encourage you guys to check out Lime's video in the description down below if you haven't watched it. I mean, obviously check him out if you don't know who he is, but he's much bigger, so I'm sure you do. So it was spawned for him where he was going back and making decks for Doctor Strange, and he found himself really enjoying playing Strange, playing his hero kit specifically, which is something that's controversial for some reason in the community. I won't say it's controversial for everyone. I don't want to give a blanket term, but I've definitely seen, maybe vocal minorities or loud vocal minorities here and there, like Strange is extremely boring, and that's not something I or Lime apparently agrees with, and having fun with him. He also discusses about wanting to play the heroes specifically and not decks, and an example is something like an Uncanny X-Men leadership build, where you can kind of take this core set of cards, lift it from a deck, and put it into another X-Men, and they play almost exactly the same. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing both of his points there, and I don't want to put words in his mouth. So if you want to see exactly what he has to say, please go ahead and check out the video below. But of course, we're going to get into it proper. So my thesis is the best decks, in my own opinion, in this game enable the heroes to do more of their kit, not enabling the hero to do something different outside of their kit. And I'll go ahead and explain that because that's really confusing, especially as an initial statement. So the first thing I want to cover is plugging the weaknesses of a hero or enhancing their strengths. So this is referring to deck building here. So, like I said, I want to flesh out this take a little bit because I know that thesis is probably confusing. So, the best example I have on what I mean by this is take a hero like Black Widow, for example. Her whole hero kit and everything she wants to do revolves on the preparation cards. And for the longest time, the only aspect that really had any preparation cards worth her while, other than leadership and rapid response, was justice. You had spycraft, you had counterintelligence, there's probably other ones, or maybe there aren't that I'm not thinking of. But when I put Black Widow in a justice deck, and specifically like shield justice, even if you want to extrapolate it further, it allows you to play her hero cards, and use her hero abilities more. It allows them to get more use, it allows them to be stronger, and it really enhances the fantasy of playing as Black Widow. It gives her, even though it gives her more options, which might sound like it goes against what I said in the thesis, it sort of just strengthens exactly what she wants to be doing. It doesn't really take the focus away from her hero cards and kit into the aspect. No, it just enhances what she wants to be doing already. Now, on the other end of that thesis, I said, the hero deck is best used to plug up weaknesses or enhance the strengths of the hero. I guess another one would be Iceman, maybe Injustice, that patches up his low thwart, but it still lets him do everything he wants to do. He can debuff with his frostbites, he can do damage with the snow clones and his attack events, he can stop activations. By plugging the weakness, it enables you to do more of what he wants to do. But on the other end of the spectrum, where I said that decks that I personally don't find myself playing, building, or enjoying, is the creating strengths type of deck. Now, what do I mean by this? So I'm going to do an example here like I did with last one. Let's take any character with Ariel, and I'm pretty sure you guys probably already know where I'm going with this. 9 times out of 10, when you load into a multiplayer game on an Ariel character, the best thing you could be doing is playing Hone Technique and Dive Bomb. And if you put that in your deck, or you make a Hone Technique Dive Bomb deck, a majority of the plays and decisions you make throughout the game are straying away from your hero and the hero kit and more about how quickly can I get home technique on the table, how often can I play and recur the dive bomb over and over and over until a win. Basically, this is what I mean by creating a new strength. For the hero, you're completely disregarding a lot of their their hero specific cards, and you're instead going all in into the aspect, the new strength that was created through aggression and this specific combo. And the only thing that you're really gaining from the hero specifically is that aerial trait printed on their card or one of their upgrades. Now, I want to, again, preface this like I did in the beginning. There's nothing wrong with preferring to build decks or play specific aspects in the hero. I'm just speaking personally that I don't ever sit down, recorded or otherwise, to play a hero and choose to only play aspect cards. 9 times out of 10, I'm sitting down to play a hero and their hero specific cards. I want to be able to like embody the theme of the hero. I want to be able to embody their cards. And I think the designers do a really great job of this game of doing that. So that's obviously what I want to be spending my time doing. So moving on from just explaining the thesis, now I want to get into the problems that happens when you're trying to play your hero. And there's 2 specific cases. So the first one I'm calling the ally problem. Now I put problem in, quotations here because it's a very, easy way to make a deck that's effective and it works well is just throw in allies. When in doubt in deck building, always add allies, especially in solo. They do everything. They thwart for you, they attack for you, they have effects, and they also can block for you. Some even once, twice, even 3 times. They are extremely powerful and they make sense as auto includes when you're building for power, if you're building for an aspect to give your hero a new strength, etc. Now, I don't necessarily think allies take away from what a hero wants to do until they reach like a critical mass. I don't really know what that critical mass is. It depends from hero to hero. Obviously, heroes that are richer that can do more things can play more allies, and they can also do their hero cards, and like maybe it can make sense thematically and things like that. But when you get a deck list that's just like really strong, you're like, this deck is really good, but I have like 12 allies, and then you go ahead and you pick that deck up and you put it on another hero in Justice. At a certain point, it can detract from the hero you're playing if you're only playing these allies every single turn and just completely ignoring their hero cards or the unique things they bring to the table. This one's a bit confusing to wrap your head around, but I think the next section is a bit more clear. So then I want to move on to the archetype/tribe problem. So in Lime's video, again, I don't want to put words in his mouth, make sure to check it out. This is where I'm going to differ from him a little bit. I don't necessarily have a problem with Uncanny X-Men builds, Avengers builds, Web Warrior builds, things like that, when it's an important part of their kit and their identity. Now, what do I mean by that? So I think the obvious one is like I play for theme a lot of the time. Not that I purposefully make, weaker decks or I put in weaker cards just to fit theme. Usually it's somewhere in the middle, but I do really like sitting down at the table and doing a villain and a hero that kind of matches thematically that they would tie up and fight against. And an important factor for me is the theming as well. So I don't necessarily think playing, the Mighty Avengers build or Uncanny X-Men build detracts from a hero if it helps them do what the hero kit wants them to do, or it's, it's built into their identity. Now, I'm going to do 3 really specific examples that are kind of obvious. The first one being Star-Lord. Now, Star-Lord could do a couple of like rush builds that are extremely strong with like Blaze of Glory and whatnot, but you can also do like this sort of mid-rangey, use the Guardians of the Galaxy title card and just really do a ton of thwart on the board. Another one is Captain America, and he has that living legend ability on his alter ego, which really leans into him playing allies, and because he gets that discount on them, it is still part of that hero identity. And the third one, surprise, surprise, the third leader of the group that we have coming up is Cyclops, and his deck building, limit is he can put X-Men allies of any aspect into his deck. All 3 of those, it makes a ton of sense for them to be running archetypes in the decks they build because the hero kit itself encourages that. Now, if I'm going to a different hero, let's say I'm doing Gambit with X-Men leadership, that's a different story. I think it can be fun and it can kind of patch up his weaknesses, but I think there's so many other builds that actually enhance Gambit's hero identity and the things he's good at, or maybe enhances the thing he struggles with, that really let him flip down, use his thwart event and his thwart ability. He can flip up, get extra damage on his attacks, like aggression. I think is super fun for him and whatnot. Where an Uncanny X-Men build leadership isn't as thematic or fun for me personally. Now the final thing I think I want to touch on here is it's this sort of like cherry picking what type of decks I like more than others. It also ties into the factor of hero strength. There's a problem with that when it comes to deck building, playing the hero other than the deck and whatnot. So I feel like this is a more difficult issue to deal with when you have a weaker hero specifically. So sometimes the hero kit itself is not strong enough to draw people in to play specifically that hero. Now, I'm not going to name any names here because I don't want to bring negativity to heroes and some of the designs in this game that I might not be fond of, but there are specific heroes in this game that, whether it's their economy is weaker, their aspect cards are weaker, maybe kind of like the way they're designed is kind of old, even though I think most of the designs in this game are absolutely great and embody the hero well. Sometimes there's just heroes that don't click with you and you're not drawn to them, and sometimes they're weaker power level wise, just objectively speaking, and people also aren't drawn to them for the same reason. And so a way that people get brought in to play these heroes again is they kind of ignore a lot of their aspect or their hero specific cards, and they build into these aspects. Maybe they have a specific trait on their hero card that lets them do this combo that other heroes aren't really able to do in the same way or take the same advantages that they can. And I think that's a really valid way to build a deck to have fun with the hero, that their hero kit might not be doing it for you. So even though I'm like kind of going back on my thesis here a little bit, I still do think it holds up here, because that is just a completely valid way of playing the game, and not every hero kit is going to click with everybody. So if an aspect can really kind of complement that hero and make them click for you, even if it's giving them that new strength, I think that's perfectly fine and justifiable. Many heroes have to rely on their deck creating new strengths for them in order for them to even reach a state where they can play their kind of older, outdated, or maybe not for you hero cards, which I think is perfectly valid, and it's one slight caveat to the thesis I have. Okay, so we're in the last section here. It's the thesis restatement. Like any good video essay, discussion video, take video, I don't know what you guys want to call it, does. And we're going to reiterate, the best decks, in my opinion, in this game enable the heroes to do more of their own kit, not their kit enabling their deck to do more. And again, there's a really confusing way of saying that, but essentially when the deck complements the hero or shores up one of their weaknesses, that allows you to play the hero how it's meant to be played, matching the theming, playing all of their hero cards whenever possible, etc. Not when you load into a game. And again, no flame here, I don't find enjoyment in it, but it's totally valid if you do. Picking any of like the 20 aerial characters and putting aggression, hone technique, dive bomb into their deck and loading into multiplayer with it every time. So to reiterate, for me personally, I'm mostly a theme player through and through. If I sit down against a certain villain, most of the time it's going to be with a hero that thematically would face off against them. When I sit down and choosing a hero to play, let's say I'm not choosing the villain first, I'm choosing the hero, I'm choosing that specific hero because I want to embody / feel like that hero. And since I think the designers do such a good job for the most part of that with their hero kits, I want a majority of the cards I'm playing to be from their hero kit. Now, I know there's probably an argument that most of my games will feel samey, and at that point, if I ever get that feeling that the hero is feeling samey for me, I'll hop over to another hero, or maybe I'll go back to them and then try that gaining new strength type of deck building, which I don't normally operate in. What do you guys think about this video? I know I was kind of rambling here. There's a ton of thoughts. Hopefully you finished up your, little video essay, having on a side monitor at work, finished up cooking dinner, eating dinner or whatnot. Let me know what you guys thought when you're done with all that down in the comment section down below. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and join the Discord for more conversations like this if you would be so inclined. That's going to be it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. See you guys in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one. Goodbye.